a couple of years ago that the Blair government, I mean lots of people really, and it's not fair to them, but a lot of people started drawing the line around the creative industries and including all these people in it, so that the numbers looked good. So that when they said, so what's the power of creative industries, they could say, look at the impact on GDP, look at the impact on the region. There's always a question about whether advertising is even in there. Advertising is not actually part of creative industries in some numbers, and some ways it is, because that they're selling stuff, not making stuff. And the business of advertising, I think, is fundamentally broken. I think the business of advertising is there to support itself. So I think that a lot of the cuts in advertising could be spent smarter. And I think if they were able to do that in a smarter way, then the client wouldn't need to spend as much. And I think that's going to be forced upon them. I think that we are going to have huge cuts across the whole economy, and that will mean people need to do things differently. So I think the message is just to think differently, and I don't think necessarily it's a problem. It's a problem for the established businesses. I think that's the big thing. So when people say, death of the music industry, there isn't. The music industry isn't dead. The large record labels are dying, but there's more music, more live gigs, more music. It's about the established businesses that are going to struggle. Creativity is the thing that will always drive new interest, and that goes in waves. So after years and years of a certain type of approach to things, somebody like Innocence comes around and talks very plainly and very simply, and everyone says, that's amazing, that's very, very clever, and then everyone does that. And then after a while, somebody will come out and say, screw you, our product's the best, we don't care about you, use our product or not. And everyone will say, wow, that's amazing, that's brilliant. And the cleverness is identifying that pattern and being there just before the wave breaks. In previous generations, you would do a campaign, and a campaign would be about shouting as loud as you can, louder than anyone else, to shift your soap flakes. And you could measure, well, soap flake sales went up 20%, and we spent this, and this. Now, the campaigns are so, we don't, a lot of companies don't talk about campaigns, they don't spend their money just every 6 months of spike in money and down again. That it's a constant conversation with the community, not just their current customers but new customers, and so that's very difficult to measure and compare and say this did this and this did that. I'm making a career of coming second in pitches. I think I'm making a career of going to a pitch and then saying, we love your idea, it's brilliant, it's innovative, it's changing the world, da 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 da. But actually we're going to go with the safe option because that's where we know. So I think, yes, I'd like more people to make more risks, but I also recognise that's not easy for people. It's not easy for the commissioners or the planners or the account managers who are risking they feel they are risking their career or their salary by taking that risk. They feel that someone's going to tell them off. I would like to be in a world where more people took more risks. I think that people feel like life is a little more fragile than it is, and I think that you can, failure is where you learn. No one really learns much from success, so failure is where you really start to learn. And this whole awful discussion about our games art, it's huge raging arguments which are really irrelevant. But the thing that struck home to me is that when people have those arguments, they compare games to other medium. So the classic example is, have you cried playing a game? Because everyone cries in films, so therefore they're much more powerful emotionally than a game is. And I think that the actual answer is that they create different emotional responses. So a film is a very passive media. Clearly you sit back, you watch it, you imagine yourself in the position of the main character or various other characters, or how would you react to that? Playing a game is a much more active thing. You've got a controller, you have agency, you are moving the cat, and then the action of actually pressing something and doing something on someone's screen, you know you have control. So, and I think that it's very hard to create exactly the same emotions as films, and things like fear in certain horror environments and things, love, sadness, those kind of things. But there's a lot of other things, that emotions that films can't do. So, for example, pride. When I've built a wonderful SimCity that works really well, my citizens are happy, I'm really proud, and I will share that and tell people about it, and kind of that'll be something that we'll kind of engage with. But I never have pride, or I never feel proud from watching a film. Guilt is another one. I never feel guilt watching a film. But if I'm playing World of Warcraft and I see a kind of level 1 character walking around and think, great, I need that sword, you know, and then run off, and I really think afterwards, well, but maybe I shouldn't have done that. You know, that's a bad thing. You know, I feel guilt, and I think that interactivity drives a whole new family of emotions that we've only just started to kind of investigate how they work. Really.